Once upon a time, if you had told me that Star Wars was in such a dire position that they were bringing back one of the most unlikable and unmemorable characters, I would have called you crazy. And it's not a stretch to say that most of the Star Wars fandom would have had the same response. Star Wars was once such a massive, massive cultural monument, and the fact that Disney has blundered it so hard that I can't even get excited for new Star Wars movies. I mean, that should go down in history as the greatest fumble ever. But the Disney Star Wars era can easily be considered one of the worst. Disney, Star Wars, and Lucasfilm is in such a position that they have to bring back Rey. Somehow, they brought back Rey. And I'm not dissing the character, she's just completely unmemorable. But in a series that has Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Leia, Darth Vader, and Palpatine before, well, you know, it's crazy to think that of all those characters, of all the memorable characters that we've had, Rey is just forgettable. She is just forgettable as a character. She served her role fine in The Force Awakens as an avatar for the fan to kind of have their own Star Wars adventure in, sort of, just a blank slate of a character. She was very similar to Mario in that regard, but the fact of the matter is, she's not that interesting of a character. Maybe if they actually hire competent writers, they can actually make her more interesting than she was in the sequel trilogy. But somehow, based on Disney's track record, I don't see that happening. I'm sorry. I'm just not excited for Daisy Ridley returning as Rey. Again, not to throw shade on Daisy Ridley. She seems like a cool enough person, but so as you can see, 3 new Star Wars movies announced, including Daisy Ridley returning as Jedi Master Rey. And by the way, this is from GameSpot, so take it as it is. And apparently, this was announced at the Star Wars Celebration of 2023, which somehow I feel like wasn't quite a success. No offense to Star Wars Celebration. So, aside from that, looks like we got Andor Season 2, which I haven't watched the first season. I've heard good things about Andor Season 1 and Ahsoka. And then obviously the new race. I'm not going to say it. But obviously the new Rey trilogy. I don't know if it's going to focus on Rey or if it's going to kind of be a continuing narrative where she's just a Jedi Master training Padawans. That's probably what it's going to do. The point is, I'm not very excited. Star Wars is not exciting anymore. And that's insane. That's insane. Let's continue on. Joining Kennedy on stage were the directors of these films, James Mangold, Dave Filoni, and Academy Award and Emmy Award winning director Charmin Obaid Chinoy. I probably butchered that name. None of this really does anything for me. It's just words on a page, on a website. Once upon a time, this would have been so exciting. You would have said, new Star Wars films. Holy crap, new Star Wars films. Oh my goodness. I just don't feel that anymore. That's the point at which the Star Wars is. I mean, we've got The Mandalorian, which I'm not even caught up on. I haven't even started season 3. I mean, it's just Star Wars it's nothing now. It's just content. And that is just honestly sad. It's pathetic. Again, Star Wars was a cultural phenomenon. The fact that it's just now content that is, you'll watch it in the background, you're not gonna think anything of it, and then just move on with your day, forget about it exactly 10 seconds after you've watched it. It's sad. It's sad because once upon a time, Star Wars, when it was out, it had your attention. Even if it wasn't great, I will admit the prequels weren't exactly Shakespeare, but I will watch those over modern Disney Star Wars any day of the week. Any day of the week. Oh my gosh. Rey is the last student of Jedi Master Luke Skywalker. Was she really? And was last seen on Tatooine at Luke's old farm at the end of Rise of Skywalker. The new Jedi Order is mainly known to Star Wars fans as something that is now part of the Legends stories, material that was made before the Disney purchase and was established in dozens of books and video games, which was promptly decanonized immediately after the purchase of Star Wars, which is so stupid because those stories would have been better than the stuff that we are being dished out right now. No other cast members from the sequel movie were announced today in addition to Ridley, but as it is with Star Wars, it's all connected and cameos and appearances are almost assured. Maybe they can get back Oscar Isaac. I don't know. I guess it just depends on how big the paycheck is. I know for a fact that John Boyega is not coming back to Star Wars. He has said outright that he does not want anything to do with Disney Star Wars. And I don't blame him. He was treated like crap on the sequel trilogy. I mean, his character, who had the most compelling storyline, was completely sidelined for Rey. And his whole character arc was that he was a simp for Rey. That's literally it. Go back and watch the films. I dare you. He is just a simp in all of the movies. I don't know what they can do. Maybe they can bring back some characters from The Mandalorian, but again, that's kind of a dying franchise as well. I mean, all of Disney Star Wars is just, I hate to say it, but it's dead. I mean, it's sad to say. I really loved Star Wars once upon a time. I thought it was the greatest film series of all time. And now it's just become a laughing stock and it's so sad. It's sad to see. I don't want to see this from Star Wars because personally I loved it. I mean, I in my childhood I was just like, "Oh my gosh, Star Wars, Luke Skywalker, the whole Anakin storyline." As much as a wreck the prequels were, at least they had a direction. At least George Lucas knew what was going on. But now it's just like Disney Star Wars doesn't have a clue where it's going. It doesn't know what to do with itself. And I think that's just from blatant mismanagement of the IP. Kathleen Kennedy was given the keys and I feel like she just didn't know what to do with it. So they're just kind of throwing stuff against the wall, seeing what sticks. And The Mandalorian kind of stuck for a little while, but as much as I enjoyed season 1 and season 2, got to admit there's not a lot that they could actually do with the franchise. I mean, how can this be fixed? I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how to fix this. I feel like the only real way to bring Star Wars back to the level it was is if George Lucas were to get back and be involved in the production. I feel like that's the only way that Star Wars can recoup. But somehow I don't think that's going to happen because the whole reason George Lucas sold the IP is because he knew that once he got wrapped up in it, it was going to be a whole ordeal. He wanted to spend more time with his family, and he knew that if he was to go into production with a new trilogy of movies, it would have taken up all of his time and effort because he genuinely cares about the franchise. He loves Star Wars just as much as we love it. I don't know. Again, I don't know how to fix this. I don't know how it can go back to being normal. But what do you guys think of this? What do you guys think of these new Star Wars films? Are you excited at all for them? Hit me up in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. It makes a little ding dong sound. It's probably the most entertaining and most inspiring thing of this whole video. I know this was kind of a downer, but I'm just sad for Star Wars right now. They are just at a point where apathy has kicked in from the fans. No one seems to care about Star Wars anymore. I want to put a positive spin on this, but I can't. But anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.